like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see.
Welcome to this short asana practice. So that is a short yoga movement and stretching practice. Today's practice, we will show you how to move your spine in all ways. If you can move your spine daily in all ways with a present and mindful breath, you might really start to notice some of your adhesions or any sticky spots, possibly even some of your pain or chronic pain start to dissipate. So the first thing we'll do is connect to the earth. So you want to make sure that your feet are connected to the floor. And if they don't connect while you're seated in a chair, then see if you can bring in a prop. I've got this nice 2-inch foam block here. But if you don't have one of these, then you could always do a stack of magazines or maybe a stack of blankets to help bring the earth up to meet your body. So if you've got kind of a higher chair or shorter legs and your feet are not quite connecting, be sure to do this first as you practice in the chair. Mine are connecting, so I can put the prop aside. So first we want our feet to connect, and then we also want to connect our tailbone. So those sits bones you can feel when you sit on a chair, you want to make sure that they root into the chair. Sometimes that means walking the hips back one at a time towards the back of a chair to feel more stable. Or sometimes it feels nicer to walk them forward and then be sitting on the very edge of the chair. Finding a nice long spine. So we're rooting down through the entirety of the foot. Rooting down through your tailbone, your sits bones. And then lengthening up through your spine. Allow your shoulders to maybe roll out a little bit, relax back and down. And then notice your breath. You might take a cleansing breath, so that's a breath in through the nose and out of the mouth. Coming into the present moment. And now stay connected to your breath if it's possible to continue to breathe in and out of your nose. A deep belly breath, and then making sure you breathe out all of your air. You can see I've closed my eyes, so you're welcome to close your eyes or find a soft gaze down the bridge of your nose. And so the first way we'll move the spine today is laterally. And so this means side to side. And we'll marry the breath to the movement. And that is a big part of helping the body release, helping the fascia to really open up with breath, and then moving the body with that breath is a very important part as you practice. So we'll inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, reaching up and over. Let the left hand come down, maybe to the chair. I've got my palm pressing on the chair as I reach my right arm up and over to the left. Still breathing deep into the belly through the nose. Inhale back to center, both arms come up. Exhale up and over to the other side. See if you can notice if your rib cage is popping forward and if you can really pin it into the core. Inhale back to center. Both arms up, and then we'll flow with our breath. Up and over to the left. Exhale, pinning the ribs. Inhale back to center. Up and over to the right. You decide how long to do this for. Practicing principles where you feel safe, comfortable, and you might even find some pleasure. When you feel even on both sides, come back to center. And then rain your fingertips down. And notice how you might feel a little bit differently now than you did before you practiced that lateral release. So you can do the lateral release also standing if you don't have a chair handy. And same thing, you're just then rooting the feet into the earth, keeping the pelvis as square as possible, and then reaching up and over, keeping that rib cage pinned down, connected, as you reach up and over to stretch. The next way to move the spine is a twist. So we want to have this, we move our spine all day in a twisting motion. So when we can start to move it in a yoga practice with breath, we can hydrate the fascia with mindfulness. So connecting again to your breath, maybe taking a cleansing breath in through the nose, out of the mouth. Sometimes it's nice to release the jaw wide open. So this is all a releasing practice. And then as you're ready, we're just going to take a gentle twist. So inhaling to lengthen the spine, rooting into foundation. Exhaling to start to gaze over the right shoulder, and you can slide your right hand back towards your right hip, and then slide your left hand towards your left knee. Maybe a breath or two here. Shoulder blade is down your back, open heart. And this can be very gentle, so you don't need to really torque or help yourself twist. Let this come from your core, from using your breath. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist the other way, sliding the hands the opposite way. And a couple breaths. Softening anywhere you feel you're holding tension. Sometimes I notice my hands want to hold tension. Or maybe your face. And then we'll flow. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Follow your own breath. Only going to a 70% effort. So if your body can go to 100%, see what would happen if you were to ease off. And then letting that go whenever it feels complete, maybe cleansing breath, jaw release. And notice how you feel. Notice without judgment. without attachment or writing a story to why you might feel the way you feel, can you simply just notice? So I'll show you quickly another way to do a twist if you don't have a chair handy and you're standing. And this one can be done any time of day at the office. It's a beautiful way to let go and release energy. So I've just got my feet farther than hip width distance apart. They're not rooted into the earth. I'm letting them pivot with my hips. Finding my breath, and then I'm just letting my arms passively flop onto my body. So I'm swinging them from my breath, from my core, from my center. This is another way to twist the body in a nice, gentle way with mindful breathing and alignment. So we're still thinking of a tall spine. We're letting the rib cage slide and glide back and forth over the pelvis. You can speed it up or slow it down. Noticing if you can stay in the present moment here. If your mind tends to wander with different thoughts, see if you can just gently guide it back to your breath and the present moment. So that is the second way we're talking about today to move the spine, to move it in all ways. And then the third way is a spinal flexion and extension. And so this can be known as a cat-cow or spinal waves. And you can do this one seated. So you're going to simply slide the hands, same thing with the inhale, slide the hands back towards the hips as you start to tilt your pelvis forward and then start to gaze up. Careful not to let the head go too far back, closing the eye of the neck, we like to call it. So keeping a nice long neck. Chin is still aware and connected to the chest as you gaze up. And then exhale to round through your spine. Slide your hands forward to the knees, pulling your belly button in and up as you let your head and neck drop towards your chest, flowing with your breath. Elbows can hug in towards each other or towards the body. A little gentle magnetic quality between the elbows. Again, doing a little less, so maybe 70% or less range of motion. So you could even just do this in a very subtle way. Rounding the spine and then opening the chest. The important thing is to notice the feet are still rooted. There's also a magnetic quality between the thighs, so notice if your thighs are kind of flopping open or flopping together. And then you might even start to circle the rib cage over the pelvis. So this is called a Sufi grind sometimes. In one direction, you could imagine you're tracing a barrel with your belly button. And careful not to do too much here, remembering you can always do less. And then circling the other direction. Always still breathing and focusing on that mindful breath. Good, and then you can let it go, noticing how you feel back at center in stillness. And so that is moving the spine in all ways. So that is a lateral release, a twist, and a flexion and extension.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.